This could be the coolest Michael Jackson chord ever.
Keith Horn's Chord of the Week.
Thriller. Need I say more? To this day, the album has sold 36 million copies and counting. And recently, the isolated vocals for the title track were released, and man, are they fun to listen to. Check these out.
Here tonight.
And that last chord, though. Now, some will hear this and say, man, Michael Jackson was an amazing vocal arranger, and they wouldn't be totally wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that Jackson did not come up with all the parts for Thriller.
Say what now?
Nor do I think it was Quincy Jones, producer of the album and one of the greatest arrangers of all time. The title track for Thriller was written and arranged by the late great Rod Temperton, one of the great geniuses of this era of pop music. And he's the one who most likely came up with all of these harmonies. Thriller's engineer Bruce Swedien had this to say about Temperton. He was the most disciplined pop music composer I've ever met. When he comes to the studio, every musical detail is written down or accounted for in Rod's mind. So when I hear that, it makes me think that Rod Temperton probably wrote down every single note for the song Thriller, including all the vocal harmonies. Temperton has this signature backing vocal sound in everything that he writes and arranges for. And that sound is made up of rich harmonies, double tracking, triple tracking. It's just a very kind of big, silky, very signature sound that's recognizable as Rod Temperton's sound. Here are some other examples of songs written and arranged by Temperton. Now, if you listen closely to those backing vocals, you can almost imagine Michael Jackson singing them because it has that signature Rod Temperton thing that you hear in Thriller, that you hear in Off the Wall. And also, Rod Temperton wrote the next example, Manhattan Transfer's Mystery from 1983.
Gotta believe in the mystery, how it used to be. We were more than lonely drifters in the dark. I can remember the sun inside when
Same here, that's Temperton's signature vocal sound. Big, rich, silky, and that sound is all over Michael Jackson recordings. Compare these songs to Jackson's Off the Wall, Rock With You, and Baby Be Mine, all of which were written by Temperton, and you'll hear the similarity of that vocal sound. I would play those songs for you, but if I did, I'd probably face execution by the jaws of an alien or the thing with 40 eyes. So instead, I'll just leave links in the description. So with all that in mind, let's listen to those isolated vocals again.
here tonight.
And let's break down that harmony. First we have this. An A7 flat 9, 3 parts in the vocals. And then an F sharp 7 flat 9, also 3 parts in the vocals. So we have. Next is a B7 sus, followed by a C sharp half diminished over B. So we have. Then an E flat 7, and finally we get to a D major 9 with 2 different voicings, and the chord we've been leading to, this guy. Which if we look at it, what I see is an A over B, with the B doubled here, and the fifth of the B added up here. You may want to call that something else, but to me that's what I see. I see sort of kind of a unique voicing of an A over B, just a simple slash chord, a soft dominant. And in this case, since we're in the key of C sharp minor, the relative major of that is E major. It's actually the next chord of the piece, I think, or piece, the song. So the dominant of this key is B. The dominant of E is B. And we have this soft dominant, this sort of slash chord dominant with the doublings, well, A doubling and the F sharp added. It sounds like it wants to go here. It sounds like it wants to go to E, but it goes to E's relative minor, the key that we're in, C sharp minor. Now it's worth noting that as the lead vocal rises, It spans the interval of an 11th from this C sharp to this F sharp. It's worth noting that we go from 3 parts to 4, back to 3, then 4, 5, and 5. That is a classic arranging technique that as the melody rises, the harmony thickens and it increases the drama. That's why this part of the song, to my ears, is so cool and so compelling, because of that arranging technique that Rod Temperton uses here. So the only reason I'm talking so much about Rod Temperton, I think I've said his name about 15 times so far, it's that, to my ears and in my view, this is his chord, not Michael Jackson's. No disrespect to the king of pop, but outside of Rod Temperton arrangements, Michael Jackson did not really sing these kind of harmonies, not this sophisticated or this thick. And because Temperton was known as the invisible man, the guy behind the guy behind the guy, I thought I'd show him a little love. Here tonight.
Here tonight.
Yeah. Who this? This beat. Yo, who this? Yo, who this? Who this?